So here's what's gonna happen in Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and 2. She's insisting that I'd make an intro, so whatever. Just So at the start of Avengers Infinity War Part 1, the Avengers are split into two teams. The first team is the actual Avengers, led by Iron Man, who has all of the original Avengers in his team, except for Captain America. Captain America is leading the new Avengers that includes the people from the newer movies that's going to be introduced in Phase 3, such as Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, etc. So they're all going to be, doing superhero stuff until they catch word of Thanos. And Thanos is like, I'm going to wreck your planet. And they're like, nuh-uh. And he's like, fine, fight me 1v1. And they're like, we're the Avengers. We don't really do 1v1. And he's like, fine, well, I have the powers of the god, so whatever. And so he creates the blue area of the moon. If you're not familiar with the blue area of the moon, it's actually an area of the moon that's okay to breathe in. And it was created during the Kree-Skrull War, whenever the Skrull were trying to infiltrate and take over Earth by shape-shifting into people. So basically, Thanos takes them all up there and is like, alright, Avengers, fight me. And so they fight. Thanos gets the upper hand. So basically, Thanos comes out on top, or it's a standoff. Either way is fine by me. But basically, Thor is like, okay, I gotta stop this guy. And so he flies over, and Thanos is just like, huh, puny god. Hulk quote from the first movie to be like, throwing it back. And then just karate chops his head clean off. Thor's dead. Straight up. Just like, boom. Then Iron Man's like, no, that ain't cool. And so flies at him. He rips off his helmet and then throws him into space. So he explodes. And you see the explosion. And it's great. Like his stomach, like it actually does in real life. It's really cool, actually. I've seen it done. On a model, of course. Anyways, basically, most of the Avengers get taken out. Pretty much everybody except for Hawkeye and the new Avengers. The new Avengers also don't know that the Winter Soldier stole a seat on their Quinjet. They don't know that, though. So Winter Soldier is just like chilling out watching. Basically, Captain America's like, alright, Avengers, we gotta fight this guy. And Thanos is like, lol, nope, snaps, and Captain America disappears. Just vanished. He's dead. Shield drops to the floor, and they're like, oh, okay, we should leave. And so they all leave, but Thanos blows up the ship. Only Hawkeye survives. Hawkeye's like, great, fine. And he's like, Thanos, why did you spare me? And he says, because you pose the least amount of threat. And then Hawkeye's like, yeah, I do. And then you see Stan Lee in the background, shaking his head in sorrow. Because he's actually the Watcher, which is this guy that like watches all significant events, so that's why he's in every movie. He's playing the same character. It's just the Watcher doing stuff. Anyways, basically, he's like, well, crap. Earth is done for. But Hawkeye gets back to Earth fine. And then the post-credit scene is the Winter Soldier looking down at Captain America's shield and picking it up, all like serious, like, I'm gonna be the new Captain America. Like he is in the comic books, because Falcon is a bad Captain America, don't Eastern. Anyways, so Avengers Infinity War Part 2 happens. It opens with Hawkeye sitting in the pub. He's like all depressed. He's been drinking. He's like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do about this Thanos guy. I don't know, man. And then the Winter Soldier walks up, fully dressed in Captain America garb. And he's like, all right, dude, we got this. Let's form the new Avengers and take out Thanos. And then he's like, well, who's going to be in this new Avengers team? And Winter Soldier was all like, I've already called some people. And he like pushes a button on his wrist device, and then you see this like bright light and these whirring of spaceship engines, and it lands, and in walks the Guardians of the Galaxy. So they go all like, alright, it's time to take out Thanos, but we need one more person for this squad. They pull Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck knows Quack Fu. This is like Kung Fu, except better. He also carries a rocket launcher. This guy is for real. He can like go 1v1 with Doctor Doom and come out on top. Although they can't use Doctor Doom because It's done by Fox, even though Marvel's so much better. Anyways, Fox is gonna screw up Fantastic Four. Whatever. Okay, so they go, and they're like, Thanos, bring it on. Thanos is all like, alright, I'll bring it on. And so he goes in and, like, nukes New York, and it's just, like, gone. It's just New York is destroyed. And so now they're like, oops. And so the Guardians of the Galaxy are like, let's do this, guys. Get in their ship and fly off. And then they blow up. And so it's just Hawkeye again. Hawkeye's all depressed. He doesn't know what to do. When all of a sudden, the explosion broke the Reality Stone off of Thanos' gauntlet. The Reality Stone lands on the ground. This bridges realities. That means that he can travel into other dimensions in order to get different people from those dimensions. So he grabs the Reality Gem, puts it on an arrow. It's from the comic books. What do you expect? It's the 90s. Superman had a mullet. The Hulk had a mullet. Everyone else was, like, extremely muscular. 90s. Anyways, he shoots the Reality Stone at the building. It explodes, ripping a hole in the space-time continuum. Out flies... Bear with me here. Bear with me here. The Millennium Falcon. They fly in, and they're just like, alright, kid, I got you covered. Look, I forgot the quote. He basically says what Han Solo says at the beginning of episode, or at the end of episode 4. So, he flies in, and Hawkeye's just like, ah, yeah. And so he, like, stops by and is all like, get in. And Hawkeye's like, no, I don't get in. And he, like, climbs on top and is like, they're flying around and he's shooting arrows and he's, like, banking around. And then all of a sudden, Luke Skywalker comes in, flying the Sun Crusher, which is an indestructible starfighter introduced in the Expanded Universe comic, focusing on Kip Duron. And this thing is indestructible, super fast, agile, and can shoot torpedoes into a sun that turns it into a black hole. So naturally, he shoots one of said black hole torpedoes at Thanos. Thanos turns into a black hole and dies. And then Hawkeye somehow does something. Star Wars people go home and Hawkeye is hailed as a hero. So, that's pretty much what should happen in the Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and 2.